Hi everyone. Today we are talking about architectural scales, and we're going to do a couple activities on the internet as well. Let's talk a little bit about what architectural scales look like and how to use those rulers. So let's get started. All right, so a scale is a dimension defining the size or location of a feature. A scale drawing is the drawing that shows a real object with accurate sizes, except they have been reduced or enlarged by a certain amount, and that certain amount is what we're talking about, a scale. So architectural scale is a specialized ruler designed for measuring these drawings. So step one, you got to look to see what your blueprint or your drawing scale is. So here you can see that the scale is 1/4 inch is equal to 1 foot, 0 inches. So you want to rotate. The architectural ruler looks something like this. It has 3 sides to it, and each side has 2 things that you can pick from. And then, in fact, on the same side, there's another thing on the other end of the ruler as well. So you got to look for the markings on the side, right, like this, for the scale that you're looking for. So in this case, the one we just looked at, that is in 1/4 inch scale. So we need to go to the quarter. When we're measuring, the first thing you want to do is line whatever you're measuring on the drawing up to the 0. Okay, and realize that you're in the 1/4 inch scale, so the 0 and the 2 and the 4 and the 6 are what you're looking at. Now in between that, you have these other numbers, which are for a different scale coming from the other side of the ruler, the other direction. But here, this would be and then you got to look for what's in the middle of 2 and 0. So this is the middle, this would be 1, this would be half, and this would be 1.5. So just kind of got to figure out what each line is doing for you and your scale. Not necessarily the scale down here or these smaller lines and the numbers that are with those. But these numbers here, the 2, the 4, the 6, you all have the 5 and the 5.5 and the 4.5 in between those major lines that are numbered. Tricky. All right, so once we figured out, like, we're getting all the way to the 10, but not beyond. So the line stops somewhere like here, I think, when we get to the 10. So once you determine that line in feet, then you're going to slide that back so that's even with the line of the whole number, the 10. So see how they got it even here? That's going to allow us then to look to see how much extends past the 0 and get our inches, because down here we've got little lines to mark the inches. And in this case, what we have is 0, and then we have a little 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches, 11 inches, 12 inches. So we know that each foot has 12 inches in it. We've talked about that a number of times already. So that's how we have to figure that out. And it's different for each scale. As you can see up here on the 1 inch scale, they have the 3 marked because it was big enough to write it in there. And they have the 1 and the 2 here. And then they also have 1/4, a half, and 3/4 of an inch. Because it's a little bit bigger scale, we can get a little bit more detail. All right. So count the number of shorter lines marked between the 0 mark and the far mark of the scale. That's what I was just doing, the little lines. Here's the 0 and the end mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then that's going to help you divide the scale into fractions of a foot. Since there are 12 inches in a foot, you can read the smaller increments as inches, as there are 12 of them. So because there was 12, we know that this is marked in inches. Where on the other one that we're looking at down here, it's got more than 12 little lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a whole bunch. So we'd have to figure that out, but we can kind of get help with these markings here as well. Okay? So this is tricky, figuring this out, how it's marked and what each mark means. All right, so step 6. So each mark represents 1 inch in this 1/4 inch thing because there are 12 marks. But it represented 2 inches if there are only 6 marks. So here you can see the 1/8 inch scale. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From 0 to the end mark, you have 6 ones. So thinking again, you know, if you take 12 inches and you divide that by 6, that means each mark, because you know this is a foot. From this mark, from 0 to the last mark is a foot. And so if you take 12 inches and divide that by 6, because there's 6 marks, that gives you each mark is 2 inches. Yeah, I know that's a lot. The more you use it, the better you'll get. And there's certain ones you use more often than others. All right, so here's another example, 24 marks. So again, we can see they make them bigger and smaller to kind of help figure it out. So this is typical. The longest one here is your 3 inches, your 6 inches, your 9 inches. And then in between, you have a little bit shorter ones. That's going to mark your 1, your 2. This is going to be your 4 and your 5. And this is going to be your 7 and your 8. And this is going to be your 10 and your 11. And then, of course, the last one is your 12. And then in between that, you have your halves. So they figured that out by taking 24 marks, counting all these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all these up down to here is 24. Dividing that by 12, and you get 1/2. All right? 12 divided by 24. The marks go on the bottom. Gets 1/2. Yeah. Okay? So, but I figured it out by just kind of reasoning it out. That if this is the 12, and I can see these marks there's 12 of these marks, then the little marks in between are halves. So you can reason it out that way. So what if they're 48? Again, the 48 goes on the bottom. So this is going to tell us that they're a quarter. Yep, there it is, 1/4 inch for each of the little marks. Okay, that's tricky. All right, so now we're back to our drawing. And so now we can, we've measured from here. We were measuring from here to here. And now we're, got the 10 feet. Now we need to figure out how many inches are before we get to our next foot. All right, so combine the feet measurements and the inch measurements to get the total length. So in this case, for example, it measured 10 feet, 4 inches. So the total length in architectural notation is 10, comma, 4 quotation marks. Well, not comma, single quote, double quote. Okay, because that means inches, this means feet. So 10 feet, 4 inches. So you don't have to write all that out. You can write it like that. That's sweet. And so that's how we use an architectural ruler. All right, so this kind of goes over the same thing. How do you read one? So when using a scale, always begin at the 0 and process to the right or to the left, depending on if you're doing this scale or the scale that's going this way. The 16, 18, 20, 22, all those are going this way. So it just depends. Along the ruler, depending on the individual scale. This edge of the ruler shows you the 1/8. So here we are, the 1/8 scale is equal to 1 foot. So every 1/8 of an inch is actually 1 foot. So this is 0. This would actually be 1, 2, 3, 4. So a little tricky with the 46 there, but you're looking at the numbers as you look at the 1/8 scale. The 0 is this high off the ruler. So you're looking at the numbers that correspond with that height all the way across. Now each line does mean something for that scale, but you have to figure those out on your own. And so I just did it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, anyway. You can drag the ruler back and forth with your mouse to see both ends. So here we go. Here's the 1/4 scale. Here's the 1/8 scale. 1/4 scale, 1/8 scale. Okay? Checking things out here. Yeah, okay. So look closely at the 1/8 scale. Reading from left to right, each tick mark on the scale represents 1 foot. And so we figured that out already. No matter the length of the tick line. Note that not all tick marks are labeled. So yeah, we don't have a label for this one. We don't have a label for this one. We don't have a label for this one, but we do have a label for this one. Okay. The distance between 0 tick and the 4th tick is 4 feet, and that's why it's labeled 4. By now, take a look at the 1/4 scale. So we slide this over. Reading from right to left, 4 scale increments represent only 2 feet. So again, here's 0, here's 2. So this would be 1, right? And in the middle, this would actually be a half. This would be 1 1/2. All right, so try these questions. What does the distance between labeled tick mark on the quarter scale, so make sure we're on the quarter scale, represent? And so each tick mark represents a half a foot. Oh, wait. What's the distance between, oh, labeled tick marks. Labeled, so you gotta be careful. Labeled tick marks, so that's 2 feet. Yay. What does the distance between the adjacent tick marks, one long and one short, represent on the 8th scale? So go over here to the 8th scale, take a look at it. One long and one short. What does that represent? That represents 1. Yay. What is the distance between adjacent tick marks, one long and one short, represent on the quarter scale? So come back over here. This is what I was thinking it was asking the first time. And so from one long to one short, how much is that on this scale? And we know that that's a half. Okay, so try measuring this line using the scale shown. So this is the quarter-inch scale. You do not need to measure inches yet. Just indicate the whole number. So we're not doing inches yet. So basically what you want to do is start out at 0. All right, get it close to 0. And look here, using this scale, because again, we're on the quarter. So we're starting at 0. So that's these numbers. We're at 14. So we know it's more than 14 because it goes past 14, but that's the whole number. And so click on the scale size in bold. Oh, to flip the rule. Oh, okay. So we're doing this quarter-inch now. We can type in 14 feet, right? Then we can click on this, and we can measure this line the same way. Here we are, starting at the 0. Okay, so we can see that this is the things we're not looking at these because this is where we're starting at 0. So this is 1. So this will be 1. And so on. You click on this. You guys can figure this out. Start at 0, 3/16, and we know that it's going to go, ooh, be tricky. 18, 20. We want the whole, 19 is in the middle. Okay? And so for right now, I'm just going to check these and see if I've done them so far. Yeah, I'm doing those right. Reading inches. All right, this gets a little bit trickier. Study the cluster of shorter marks. So after the 0, or before the 0, however, excuse me, you're looking at it, there are shorter marks. And so we have to figure out what those divide into. So these lines divide one scale increment into fractions of a foot. So one scale from here to here is 1 foot. We need to figure out what each of these little ones are. Since there are 12 inches in a foot, you can read these smaller increments as inches if and only if there are exactly 12 of them. So look carefully at each scale and identify in each case whether the smallest increment represents exactly 1 inch, more than 1 inch, or less than 1 inch. So here we are on the 8th scale, and there are not 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 6. So these are going to represent more than 1 inch because there's less than 12. I mean, that's tricky. Let's go to the quarter-inch scale. So here we do have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way to this one. So this is going to be exactly. Let's go ahead and check my answers. Good. All right, so here's our demonstration. So we're going to put these two techniques together. So this demonstration does include audio if you want to listen to that. Then we can keep going. So you can toggle sound on and off at any time. So there you go. All right, so the first thing, let's begin. Let's turn that off. All right, so position one end of the line at 0. So what scale are we going to use? Okay, so we're going to use, let's start with the, let's start with the left. There we go. So this is how we do it. Watch them do it. Actually, okay. And so we see that the whole number with the 8th scale, which again, this is 0, so it's these numbers. And the whole number, 44, is too far. So we can't go past it. We got to come back to, I think this is 43, 42, 41, 40. Yeah, so this is 43. Okay. Good. We got that right. Now we're going to slide it back to the 43 mark. So this, we're going to make this line line up with the end of this side of the line. Okay. Oh, I got to do it. Is that right? No, they're going to do it. All right. So here they go. Slide it right back. They zoomed in so we could see it better. All right. Now we need to go read the inches. So we got to look at the other side of the ruler. And so we can do this. So look, here's the 0, and it's going past 0. 1, 2 marks. So 2 marks on this one is actually 4 inches, because this would, and count this up, 2, 4, 6 gets me halfway to a foot. 8, 10, 12 gets me all the way, because there's 12 inches in a foot. So this is going to again be 4. So we got it right here. That's it. All right, now we're going to do it with the 1/4 inch. Line it to 0. See what it, again, we're using these numbers down here. See what the largest whole number is. So here's 20, here's 21, here's 22, because 21 should be right in the middle of 20 and 22. So this is 21. Yeah, this is 21.5, but we don't want that yet. We just want the whole number, whole feet. Okay? So I say it's 21. Let's see if I'm right. Yay! Now slide the scale until the far end of the line is aligned with the tick marker 21. So we're going to move this 21 to the end of the line. I don't think we can do that ourselves. Yeah. All right. So that's what it's going to do. There it goes, sliding over. All right. Now, once at the far end of the line correctly, you can look back at the 0 end and read the inches. So let's go back to the 0 end. All right. And we can see that there are 12 marks from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means each one is a foot. This goes all the way to here, I believe. So that's 6 in the middle, 7, 8. So yeah, that's what they wrote here, 8 inches. Okay? All right. So hopefully you guys understood that and you're good to go. So now you're going to go to practice, and it's going to read through this. It's going to ask you what scale you're going to be in. So you're going to be in 1/4 inch scale. You come over here, click on 1/4. We're going to drag this up. 1/4 is on the right side. We're going to put our 0 even with that, and it's going to snap to us, because that's right now snap to the right end is on. And then I'm going to use my magnifying glass, and I'm going to magnify this up a little bit. All right. So again, make sure I know what I'm doing here. This is 0 at the bottom. So the bottom numbers are what I'm looking at. I get here. There's 40, but then there's 42 here. Another whole number in the middle is going to be 41. So I'm going to put 41 in here. Until you type that in, it won't let you go any farther. And then, now that you've done that, it'll let you slide this to the 41. And you might want to keep this here. Make sure it's completely lined up, and it actually still snapped right to it. So that's a good feature. In real life, you wouldn't have that feature. And then we can look at this side and see that, oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 lines in each for this whole thing. So each one is an inch. And we can see that this is 3, 4. So I say it's 4 inches. Let's put that in here and check our answer. And we got it right. Here again, we're doing 3 inch ones. So we'll click on this. We're going to start with this is the 3 side. So we got to start up here like this. I'm going to show you when to take, okay? It's snap to grid, because that's turned on, so that's nice. Just double check it to make sure. All right, so we know we're using the bottom numbers here. So our whole number is 1. The closest whole number is 1. And once we do that, we're going to take the 1 and put it right there. And it's snapped, hopefully, to there. Snap to the left side, hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty close, lined up. All right, and so now we're going to look over here. You said that this is, so here we can see 0, 3 inches, 6 inches, 7, 8, 9 is here. So this is a half. I think it's pretty close to 6 inches. So just have that right there. Type in your 6 inches, and then check your answer. And I was right.